It's August 26th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaimsOnline.com, presented by Mungenast, St. Louis Acura, and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. And Rammer, yesterday I spent all morning talking about Lars Nootbaar and how he wasn't a top prospect in the organization and kind of saying we should slow down a bit on hyping him up as much as we are. And then yesterday he gets a walk-off hit in the 10th inning.
Well, a couple of things there. First of all, I'm not sure who's doing the hyping. We haven't done it on this show. And then I just question the ratings folks who do those kind of things. So how do you rate players? Okay, we talk about the 5 tools. I'll ask you, can he hit?
Yes.
He always has. He's hit there's been a couple of stops along the way, but he's been promoted year by year by year. In fact, one year he jumped a couple of spots in the same year. Can he hit for power? I think that's a question. Can he hit for power? Now, we saw him crush one in Kansas City, but consistent power. Okay, that's it. We'll leave that as an open question. Can he field? I think the answer is yes. Can he throw? I think he's got a plus arm, right? And can he run? I think he's got plus speed. So why he wouldn't be a prospect as an 8th round pick, if you pick the guy in the 8th round and he's suddenly not a prospect, I got a disconnect somewhere. So I don't know if the guy's going to be good in the long run. I mean, what has he got, 50 at bats? I have no idea. But to say he's not a prospect or he's the next great thing, both extreme ends of that spectrum, I think, are kind of silly.
Well, he will be in the lineup once again today as the Cardinals open up a 4-game series in Pittsburgh. It's an important series, as late last night, or I should say early this morning, the Padres lost again. The Reds lost yesterday. For as bad as the Cardinals' recent homestand was, we saw them somehow gain a game. Yeah. In the wild card standings. They are now 3.5 games back of the second wild card, and they have the Pirates for 4 games. Baseball continues to hand the Cardinals playoff opportunities.
And the Cardinals keep shutting the door right in their face.
Right? No, they don't. Get away from here. We're looking at 2022. Don't give us those 2021 playoffs. We don't want them. Just stop it. And that's what we're getting over and over again. My God, this is it is frustrating.
The Padres and Reds are in concert, keeping the Cardinals hanging around with legitimate mathematical opportunity. But the other part of the math I touched on it yesterday. It's not quite a legit factor just yet, Joe, but the Cardinals will soon run out of time. That's why I agree with you that these games are important. Not that we have to necessarily got to win 3 out of 4. They got to sweep. They got to do whatever, which is something fun we do. And that's kind of one of our bits as we've gone through the season on this show. But you will start to run out of time soon if you don't handle your business now.
I mean, this is the last series of August. I mean, you're playing these games. I mean, the calendar turns over to September on Tuesday. So these are all important games. It's 4 games against the Pirates, and we could sit here and maybe this is something for us to do next week, but we've sat here. You go from the Pirates to the Reds, so. You have 2 big series that if you can make up some ground, you can immediately jump them in the standings.
Couple of concerns. One is without your ace, how do you physically handle it? Meaning there's another spot in the rotation. Again, as I mentioned the other day, Kim probably slides right back into that role, but I don't know. That's just a guess. 2 is the offense remains awful. And is there anything you can do to sort of change? I think the Cardinals may have to, but it may go against their nature and training to try and play a little more small ball. But if they haven't been doing it to try and change your game plan, it might not be realistic. But to think you're going to bust out with a bunch of home runs night after night after night after playing for 5 months and not being able to score runs, boy, that really concerns me too.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt, 2 home runs yesterday afternoon, accounted for all of their offense in the first 9 innings of the game before the Nootbaar single in the 10th. And they, again, I mean, here's the lineup for today. I've been kind of going back and forth about when to get to it, but you once again do not have Tyler O'Neill in the lineup. It is Tommy Edman at second, Paul Goldschmidt at first, Dylan Carlson in right, Nolan Arenado at third, Yadier Molina behind the plate, Nootbaar in left, Sosa at short today, Harrison Bader in center, and Miles Michaelis is on the mound for the Cardinals today. They are facing Mitch Keller. So on the Pirate side of things, Ben Gamel leads off, Michael Chavis, Brian Reynolds, Colin Moran, Wilmer Defoe, Gregory Polanco, Kevin Newman, Michael Perez, and then the pitcher Mitch Keller batting ninth. You look at that roster. There's outside of Colin Moran, I don't know who on that roster should scare you at all, and they are just asking you to beat them.
Well, Burt Reynolds is a good player.
No. It's Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds. Yeah, not to be confused with Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, it could be. I could see where you got confused with that.
My bad.
But it is Brian Reynolds. Yes, Brian Reynolds.
He's a good player, and Moran has hit the Cardinals really well. You know, the given the 8 players that you've offered me to play today, I have no problem with the lineup. You've got to figure a way. You got to get some guys on base. The only 2 that have had any success, and it's all limited at bats against Keller, are Edman and Nootbaar. We've had some struggles lately, in particular with the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the order delivering, and we got to get Arenado out of his slump. Goldschmidt's playing well. Tommy Edman's been hitting. We got to get Arenado out of his slump. If he can come out of his slump in Pittsburgh, maybe that's the thing that generates and becomes contagious throughout the lineup.
We've been getting, we were promised weeks ago that at some point we would see Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado hot at the same time. That's been something that's been promised to us all year. I think there's been 2 times this year that both have homered in the same game. One was the first week of the season, and then one was right when Schilt made that promise that it was going to happen and it was going to be fun. September would be a hell of a month for that to happen, because that would make things a heck of a lot of fun for the Cardinals.
Yeah, the other thing I like about what Schilt has done is kind of staggered the guys who can hit left-handed and staggered them through that what is typically a heavy right-handed lineup. So maybe that helps you with some bullpen stuff. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws. I'm sure, just like Mike is trying to get the lineup jump started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think, and when Tyler O'Neill comes back, when he is healthy, we'll see which direction they decide to go with the lineup then, whether that is Nootbaar or Bader, or they start playing more matchups in the month of September. And then also next week too, and this is a conversation to have on Monday, they're going to call up a few extra guys and have a few extra guys on the roster. Not the 40 that we're used to seeing. It is very much scaled back from previous years, but they will add a few more to the roster for the September run, which it's August 26th and they're 3.5 games back. Rammer, 10 years ago on this day, the Cardinals were 10.5 games back in the wild card. 10.5 games back. 3.5 games is nothing.
Yeah, if you can start playing better.
Right.
No, that's what I said.
God, I would have loved to do a show with you 10 years ago when they were 10.5 games back at the end of August. I bet you were just a treat on the that would have been your fast lane days, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what was really fun about that as it started to go. 1964 and 2011 are 2 of the greatest comeback pennant races in the history of the Cardinals, and I got to see them both. And the 2011 rivals what happened in 1964. Although that 64 team played pretty well all year, it was 8 teams then, and gosh, every lineup had Hall of Famers in it throughout the National League. So there were some differences, but the fact that you had to come back and play to the very last day, it was really exciting, but it was a frustrating time in 2011, no doubt.
I can imagine. So there you go. You see the lineup on the bottom of the screen. First of 4 games begins tonight in Pittsburgh. Early start times out there on the East Coast. Rammer, before we get to our hats for today, a quick word from Royal Banks.
Don't forget the Royal Banks has a great introductory offer for you if you're looking for a home equity credit line. Let all the work that you've put into your home over the years come back and pay off literally for you. Call Royal Banks at 314-212-1500 or go online to royalbanksofmo.com and you'll see what folks have been understanding for, over half a century. Royal Banks is there to help you achieve your financial goals. It's where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Rammer, I went and I dug up an old gem. This is a childhood hat of mine from Disney that I got in at Disney World when I was a kid. So I'm going to give a free cheap plug to our to your good friend and mine, John Marisek. If you are planning a Disney trip in 2022, John Marisek at themagicforless.com. Let him help you book that trip to Disney.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah.
I got to get on board. I love Disney.
I think I'm looking at the calendar right now to see Disneyland in 2022 after the All-Star game in LA. That's where I'm looking next.
Be a great trip. Trip. With me, I go with my Louisiana Tech, one of my few remaining lids or souvenirs, if you will, from my career back then in the 80s. So my Louisiana Tech Nike lid. It's one of my very favorites.
Very nice, Rammer. Before we get out of here, did I have you give us a quick word from Royal Banks already? I can't even remember.
Yes, I did. It's where better service means better banking, Joe. Thanks for listening.
Hey, it's been a long week.
Has.
It has been a long week, and it's only Thursday. You and I have to do this again one more day tomorrow, as we will hopefully talk about the Cardinals starting off with a victory in Game 1 of 4. He is Bob Ramsey.
I feel good about tonight. It's going to be a good ball game in Pittsburgh.
I hope you're right, and hopefully they gain another game, and we're sitting here talking 2.5 back. Are the Reds playing today? I didn't look.
Reds were winning late, right before we went on the air.
All right, so keep it then at 3.5 games back for the in the wild card. He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been another edition of Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com, presented by Mungenast St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
St. Louis Acura is excited to announce the opening of our newly remodeled service lounge. We sell pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models and take pride in servicing what we sell. We offer free pickup and delivery service and a complimentary car wash and vacuum with every service. We also have a full-service reconditioning shop on site that can repair dents, bumpers, and wheels. As the nation's only 29-time Acura Precision Team winner for customer satisfaction, we work every day to make St. Louis Acura better than ever for you.